are the peace that passes all my understanding. You know just what I need when everything's derailing. What would I do without your promises unfailing? You are the only one who knows me.
Welcome to episode 11 of Followers of the Cross. Today's interview is with Zak and Amy Huffman, an up-and-coming husband and wife duo performing Christian worship music under the name Love Displayed. They have released an album of original songs called I Will Say Yes. All proceeds go to support their ministry called Spirit of Adoption Ministries. Now to the program. Oh, and I am using clips of their music with their permission. So tell me a little bit about Love Displayed and who the two of you are, and a little bit about the concept for your duo.
Sure. So Love Displayed kind of happened organically. It's me and my wife, Amy, and ever since I was saved when I was 14 years old, I just really supernaturally learned how to play music, very accelerated, and I've led worship ever since. Amy started leading worship when she was, she started singing in church when she was like 3 or 4, just old enough to stand up there. And ever since we met, music's always been a passion. We've always loved worship. We've always led worship at whatever church we would be attending. And just as we met people throughout missions work and throughout different organizations, we started singing kind of outside of church. And the Lord really has blessed Amy with an ability to write music, really good music. And so we started actually making it a point to record music and writing music. And we decided to do our first album. And it just kind of naturally progressed into officially calling us the band. We used to just go by Zak and Amy because it was just like, well, that's just who we are, and we just like to worship. We never set out to be necessarily a big artist or anything like that. Just over the last few years, we've kind of transitioned into Love Displayed, and here we are.
Interesting. And so, Zak, you said that you learned how to play music once you were saved. Had you ever tried music or anything before that?
I'd tried music a little bit. 5th through 8th grade, I did the band thing. I played trumpet. I didn't feel as very musically inclined in any way. I also tried out for choir, and I did not make it. So I never considered myself musically inclined. And, someone in my family always had a funny story that, I took an interest in playing keyboard. And for Christmas one year when I was 14, I might have been 15, I asked for a little keyboard. So I got a little cheap keyboard and was just playing around. And whenever I was back in my bedroom, she was at my house, and she said, "What CD is that playing back there?" And she came back to my room, and it was me playing, and she couldn't believe that I had learned because it had only been like 2 or 3 months. So, it seemed really natural to me, but the whole process, in retrospect, was very accelerated. It was definitely a blessing. I just took to it really quickly, and, I guess I considered myself a musician ever since then.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. It was very cool.
As someone who, fortunately, I'm able to write, podcasting is sort of something new to me.
Uh-huh.
I took about a year and a half of guitar lessons, and it did not stick. So
you just reminded me. I took
amazing.
Guitar lessons at one point, too. I totally forgot about that. That was before piano or anything, and it did not stick for me either. And but what's funny is after I played piano just for like 6 months or a year, I thought, well, I want to do it skillfully. So I found the best piano instructor I could around here. And, it's not like I could read classical sheet music. Amy can. But just after like 1 or 2 lessons, he was like, for what you're wanting to do, like write music and lead worship and things like that, honestly, I hate to lose a customer, but I can't do anything. So it was definitely accelerated. It was awesome.
Awesome to have that's definitely one way to find out, hey, it's not going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. The guitar, on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
I've messed around with that thing for 10 years and I still don't have it, but I'm happy with piano.
Piano. Okay, so that was another question as far as like what sort of instruments y'all do, and is it just Amy who sings? Do you sing?
No, I sing too.
Okay.
Amy writes all of our lyrics. I usually write the music. I, my experience in piano. Amy was classically trained from how old? 4. From the time she was 4, went to college for music, did all of that. So we both play keyboard. And then since then, she's picked up a little bit on guitar. I play flute too. She plays flute. But definitely keyboard is our main deal. It's how we that's what we write all of our music on and everything like that.
Okay. So Amy, tell me a little bit about your background. So you were singing in church at a very, very young age. Is that something you sort of wanted to do? Did you feel led to do that?
I did not. My dad was in a quartet when he was growing up with his brothers, and it was more forced when I was growing up. It wasn't something I don't feel that I ever had the time or ability to process to even know if I felt called to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just how it was. It wasn't until I was older that I realized, that I actually wanted to do it and that I did feel called to do it. Whenever, I was out on my own and learned how to hear God's voice for what he wanted for me, that's whenever, I knew for sure. But growing up, it was just, can't explain it. It's just how it always was. I was just always playing the piano at church or singing in the choir. But when I was about 20, I realized that I definitely was called to do it.
Okay. So your dad and you said your brothers were all in a quartet?
No, my dad and his brothers.
His brothers. Okay.
My grandfather was a pastor, and my grandma sang and played the piano, and the 4 of their boys were a quartet.
Tell them their names.
Their names were Larry, Terry, Gary, and Barry. Very funny.
Excellent.
Yeah, and her grandpa says, my boys are Larry, Terry, Gary, and Barry, and if I had a girl, I would have named her George. She's crazy.
That's great. That's crazy. That's funny. Okay, well, tell me about the album that you had come out recently and the lead single that's from that album.
Okay, so yeah, just like I said, kind of organically, we started writing songs a couple years ago, and we felt like it was time. That was fun to do in our basement. Wrote these songs. Normally, when we were out on the road, we would just cover other popular songs, popular worship songs. And we would throw a few in here and there of our originals, but we were like, okay, it's time to actually release some of our own stuff. And we started looking for a producer because, we're like, what do we even do here? Like I said, we never set out to be like CCM artists necessarily. We just knew that we had songs that we felt like people needed to hear and that would honor the Lord. And so we were like, all right, what do we do now? And we sent out we listened to the different producers that we liked, found out that producers are kind of hard to nail down. They have to like you, first of all. We did an EP of just 2 songs up in Harrisburg with a producer named Nathan Horst. He did an excellent job with it. We loved the sound of it. And then through that EP, we were able to send that off to Ian McIntosh of Jesus Culture, and he also liked the sound. And before we knew it, we were out in California at the Sound House and recording in the studio where, Bethel, Carrie Job, all of these different artists have recorded under the direction of Ian of Jesus Culture. Jesus Culture musicians were playing the music for it. It was kind of like a surreal experience. It was really crazy. And we just love the outcome of it. I think that it's really unique in that the lyrics definitely have depth to it. They're not real light songs. They're not real heavy songs, but we really love the lyrics to the songs. And after all the production, the music that goes with it is still really great because it's also the type of album, although it's very deep, you can listen to it on a road trip. It has great music to accompany a really good message. So overall, we're just super happy about the outcome of it. Have no complaints about it at all. I mean, it was a great experience, and we just love the finished project. You're the Only One is the one that we chose to be like the debut single from that album. And that song, it's kind of, I guess you could call it the most fun song on the album. I love it. It's a real catchy song, but most importantly, we love the lyrics and we love the meaning behind it. It's basically about, in this world, people will misinterpret you at times. And, people might look at you and say, it's crazy. What are you doing? Your actions kind of confuse me just because, we have 4 kids. We have different businesses that we run and we're all over the place. And, just in anyone's life, you can always be misunderstood, but it's the promise that the Lord knows our heart. And, it's a song declaring that it's okay. You're the only one who knows me. And if you know me and you understand me, then everything else is fine. So it's kind of like it's a really upbeat, fun song, but it has a really great message behind it of just like, it's kind of one of those songs where you can listen to it and be like, what a relief. You can listen to the words and you can sing along. You can just be like, what a relief to know that this is true, to know that he understands us and he knows us. That's kind of what it means for me. Same, Amy?
Yep. And so, Amy, tell me about a couple of the other songs on the album. You're Welcome Here is one. All Power. What is there one particular song in addition to like the You're the Only One that you think is the most powerful or has any sort of special personal meaning to the two of you?
Actually, most of the songs have personal meaning to me, but All Power, I would say, is one of the most powerful songs on the album.
The bridge is awesome.
The bridge, yeah. Well, the verses of the song talk about all power and all love and all peace and all joy come from him, and that's very important. But the bridge is very powerful to me, talking about nothing comes from our ability or power in the world. It comes from him, and nothing we can do can accomplish, basically anything. It's all him. And the part about all the lowly and broken is really powerful, that, he sets us free. And after traveling with missions and falling in love with the gypsies in Bulgaria and Greece and Turkey, I think of them a lot when I'm singing that song, just how powerful he is everywhere, not just here. And so that song is very powerful to me personally.
And okay, and that brings me to another thing I was going to ask about, the mission work that the two of you do. And I understand you have the Spirit of Adoption Ministries. Then, like you said, you've done some traveling abroad. Can you tell me a little bit about those things?
Yeah, so, Amy, 3-4 years ago?
2012.
2012. Well, I didn't want to travel anywhere because I was so afraid to fly. It was like this crazy fear. I was like one of those people. I'm like, I'll drive. And we had to go to Houston a lot, from Ohio. And it was always like the most dreaded day of my life when I had to fly. And I remember we were at a conference hosted by an organization called Global Celebration. And they played this promo video about how they have a trip ministering to the gypsies.